everybody. This is Alex Davis with the UF COMMcast, the podcast for the University of Findlay Communication Department. And today I am joined by Professor Amy Rogan. Hello.
Hi.
Role reversal here. Usually you are the individual doing the interviewing.
Yep.
So thank you for allowing us to put the spotlight on you.
Oh, well, okay.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So I am, as we noted in the first episode, I'm the newest addition to the department. Mm-hmm. You've been here at University of Findlay for some time now. I believe you've the second longest here in the department. Mm-hmm. How long have you been at UF?
I've been here 8 years.
Okay.
I started in 2014.
Nice.
Fall of 2014, yep.
And what brought you to UF?
I'm actually a Findlay graduate.
Okay, got it.
I got my bachelor's here. And after I left Findlay, I went on to a career in TV and taught for about did TV for about 15 years. And then I went into print. And during that time, I got my master's and I started some teaching at, adjunct teaching at a couple different schools. And I was teaching full-time at another university. And I've always stayed in touch with Findlay. I've come back and talked at different events, comm days and stuff like that, and have talked to them about teaching before, and this position came open. So I called him up. I was like, hey, what do you think? And he went through the whole process that you did and and everything, and ended up here. First 3.5 years I was driving quite a way from Marysville.
Woo.
So
Okay.
it was about an hour and a half.
My goodness.
Yeah, and then we moved up after my son graduated high school. So we moved up to town and
Nice.
love it.
Is it way better than driving an hour and a half away now?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
bet I can imagine. That's a commute for sure. So you mentioned your media background,
Mm-hmm.
television and print. Can you elaborate on those a little bit for us?
I was in television. I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of producing, and I started out as a part-time editor. You're just looking for any way to get in when you first start. And I started as a part-time editor, and I would stay over and train on the assignment desk, and then I moved up to Columbus at an assignment desk at Channel 4 there.
Nice.
And then I would stay over and work with producers on my own time and try to learn how to produce. And I went into assistant producing and then producing there. And from there I went over to the Ohio News Network, which was a 24-hour cable news network. It was the first statewide news network in the country. And I was there for 11 years. Wow. 10 of those I was a manager. I was either executive producer or assistant news director. I left as the assistant news director. But it can be somewhat exhausting.
Right. I can imagine for sure.
Yeah, I love it. We still miss it, and it still has a great place in my heart, especially ONN, because we just became such a family there. But it can be an exhausting career.
Yes, no sleep. Yes, always on the mind. Mm-hmm. And how about the print side of things? Where did you transition from television to print, or was that when you came to UF?
It was after I decided to leave TV in 2010. I still had contacts with the Dispatch owned ONN.
Okay.
The Columbus Dispatch. It was one of their broadcast stations, and I stayed in contact with some people there and asked for, is there any writing opportunity? Because I had done a couple columns for the Dispatch.
Got it.
The faith and values columns.
Nice.
And they said, well, because I lived in Marysville at the time, we had a weekly newspaper there. They have what they call This Week.
Okay. In
various suburbs of Columbus, like Dublin, Hilliard, and so on.
Nice.
So they said, well, we have the education beat and the city council beat. I said, okay, I'll do those. So I ended up covering all those meetings, city council, school board, and did some features. I was at one point, I was teaching at Urbana University full-time, actually overloading and turning 5 stories a week for the paper. So yeah, it was kind of like having 2 full-time jobs.
That sounds exhausting as well.
Mm-hmm. But again, it's one of those things that I love to write.
Right.
And you get to meet people, and it's fascinating to hear people's stories and stuff. I love that. So I
love it. No, I love it for sure. And now you're faculty advisor of the Pulse.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so you're facilitating students. And how long have you been doing that? Since you've been here at UF?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you facilitate students getting into print. What have been some of the success stories with the Pulse and students, if you will?
As far as students and where they've gone from
Yes.
here, we've had some great students that have really taken advantage of the opportunities we have here, and it's paid off for them.
Okay.
Whether it was in PR or journalism, digital media, because we always say you got to know one
Right.
to do the other. And so they've written for the Pulse, even if they're like PR students.
Nice.
We've had some students that are not comm students that have written for the Pulse and went on to do great things. We have one student is actually a morning anchor in Lima.
Nice.
And another student is a reporter for Spectrum News 1 Ohio.
Wow.
Which is much like O&N was when it started.
Right.
But she has, in her first year, of course, coming out of school into COVID and an election year.
It's a tough time.
And demonstrations and protests. She really got more experience in her first year than most of us get in the first
time,
5.
but a great time.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So she's done really, really well there as well. And I just try to connect students with people that I know in the business and maybe who have gone on to do PR or other things or work in the political sector. I just try to get students to connect with real life professionals so that they can talk to them, make connections, see what they're really doing out there.
Right.
Because we can only teach them so much in the classroom.
Right.
Right. So I think when they see the real world applications of what we're trying to teach them here, it kind of clicks a little bit better.
Definitely. No, that was my next question, actually. I mean, we have great platforms here with the television, with radio, with print, journalism, Pulse. But as far as students getting out into that real world, how important do you think it is for students to pursue something like an internship or something of that nature to get into the field?
Crucial.
Crucial.
It is crucial for them to have internships. When I was a student here, we did not have the TV station. We did have the radio station, but I was really interested in TV. I did 3 different internships. I did one at a local station here in town called WFND 47. It's not here anymore. It didn't last long. And then I worked in Toledo one summer. I interned there, the morning shift, which is always fun because you go in the middle of the night. Right? Done plenty of that.
Right.
And then I interned at Channel 4 in Columbus one semester. I would go down once a week and spend a day down there. So those things were crucial to learning. And I've seen students, when they go out into those internships and they come back, they're different.
They have different knowledge base.
Yeah, it's clicked.
Right.
It is clicked. And I love seeing that. I love see students mature from one point to the next. So I do think getting out there is not only good for learning, but it's good for connecting.
Definitely. And you also mentioned that you've had that you had students from other departments or disciplines here on campus get involved with digital media and journalism here in our department. Do you think that will help them in their discipline, or does it possibly take them a different route? Maybe they go away from what they're doing and now want to dive into digital media and journalism. Do you see cases like in both areas?
I've seen students, really get their interest is piqued by working with the Pulse or UFTV or WLFC. So they may switch routes. But I've also had, especially I think your education majors,
right,
when they take news writing and they see some of the tools, like the media literacy tools we use, and get a different perspective of what journalism writing really is versus what people think it is.
Right. Yes.
I've had students say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna use that in my classroom," So that's kind
love
of
to hear
fun.
it.
Yeah, that's fun. And then you have business and marketing students that can take those tools as well and use them in their careers. So
makes sense, and these 3 things, or these digital media and journalism in general, can be useful to any field.
Absolutely.
And in PR, like you mentioned as well. So I think that's a beautiful thing. The Pulse has recently, in the last couple of years, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's transferred from print, or transitioned from print to all digital, right?
Yes.
And I think we've seen a lot of that just in media and print aspects of media as well. Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's a bad thing? Are there benefits to us going all digital? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's a good or bad thing. I mean, it is a good thing in that we're going where the audience is.
Okay, right, makes sense.
If our campus audience, we think of our audience as students, faculty, staff, parents, and alumni. Top of that list, of course, is students because it's a student newspaper.
Right.
So we did publish a print version every week for quite a while. The first year we came back with all COVID, under all COVID protocols, we decided it would just be better to go go digital, and that way we wouldn't be delivering papers all over campus, and we would limit contact and limit people picking up a paper and setting it down, and just wanted to hit social media really hard.
Right.
We're still working on growing that.
Okay.
Getting students to, see our social media and to see where the stories are, because we are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. So we try to push out stories as we can. And we're always looking for ways to develop. Do we want a new app for the Pulse?
Right.
Absolutely, we do. That's something that we want to pursue. So because I think students would be much more likely to put that on their phone and access stories that way. So
agreed. I like it.
Yeah. We're just evolving with the rest of the industry.
Yes.
I try to keep things as close to industry standards as possible. Every year I try to go someplace, another TV station or something, and do a day tour where I can stay connected with what's happening in the industry.
Right.
And what's going on. And then I can bring that back to my students. And I think social media is a huge part of that.
Definitely.
For sure. Especially if that's where our students are. We got to go to them.
Right. And if that's where they're at, they're on the TikToks and Instagrams and I don't even know if Twitter, I'm dating myself now, if Twitter's still but but TikToks and Instagrams for sure. If that's where they're at, why not go to them?
Right.
Love to hear it. And so as I'm still kind of new here, I'm learning a lot here in this last 10 minutes or so. But one thing that does come to mind, we also have a club here on campus, UFDM. Mm-hmm. And how long has UFDM been around and available for students?
It's been around. It's been in different forms. It was the UF TV production club for a while, and we had separate meetings, and we decided to, because the industry is so converged, we wanted to converge our little pieces of the puzzle too. So we, a few years ago, started holding all of the entities together, WLFC, UFTV, and the Pulse.
Got it.
The Pulse does tend to hog some of the time because we have to talk about news stories and what news stories we're covering and get those assigned, and we have to talk about ideas and all that stuff. So it is now called the UF Digital Media Club. We just kind of thought that was more timely with the industry right now.
Right.
Digital media is kind of what everybody thinks of when they we're not necessarily broadcast or anything like that because of so many streaming services and
it hurts
everything.
My soul sometimes. Yeah. I love the word
Yeah,
broadcast.
I know. I know. So it was UF TV Productions for a while. About a year or so ago, we changed it to Digital Media Club. So
nice.
All of the student media, the Findlay media, it meets once a week, Monday evenings at 5:30 in the Egner Lab. So students,
come on.
And
it's open to individuals outside of comm department, and you can come on and join.
Absolutely. And AJ runs the TV station, Alex runs the radio station, and I do the Pulse. So we would love to have anybody. All of us would, and we try not to fight over people, but
it happens sometimes. No.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, but yeah, if you don't have to be a comm major, you don't have to even love writing. If you love production type of things, making videos, or if you are interested in DJing, I'm sure you would like. I know you have a couple students taking on some shows. Yes,
it's beautiful. Yeah. Well, we've been training over the past couple weeks and got a couple others coming in next week, and so putting together a good core. So it's fun. I got a two-part question for you. Why should individuals choose University of Findlay? And second part, why should they choose the communication department?
University of Findlay, gosh, I think it's It's well positioned within the state, to be honest. I mean, we're in Northwest Ohio. We're right off of 75. We're not in a huge city, but we're close to some bigger cities like Toledo or Lima, or it's an easy hop, skip, and a jump to Cincy even.
Yes.
If you just hop on 75, we're right there. But it's a beautiful campus. They have continued to look for ways to grow the campus, much like our latest addition with the College of Business building. And I know they're always looking for ways to make the university more accessible to students. And I think we have some great programs here, whether not just communication, but the equestrian, pharmacy, physical therapy, education. We have a lot of really solid programs.
Yes.
For communication wise, I think communication is something that people can use in any industry, whether you're in love with journalism or PR or not. It's a skill that many businesses are looking for. Those soft skills are tough to come by these days for whatever reason.
Yes. Right.
And when you learn how to communicate with people, even if it's in our organizational communication degree that we just started recently, we now have a major in that as well. Lots of online courses there, so it's easy for people who are already out in the working world to earn that degree. And then they can go on to our Masters of Professional Communication program as well. That is great for people out in any industry, really, in business. So I think those things are hugely important. I think the University of Findlay is unique because we have radio, TV, newspaper.
And not every campus has these things.
Yeah, not every small campus or independent private university has those type of opportunities, and you don't really have to duke it out with any other students to use those facilities. And we individually as faculty like to work with students to help them develop, whether it's a shooting skill or editing skill. I think there's a lot of experience here.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
And a lot of good facilities and a desire to help students, whichever way they're going, but to help them achieve success.
Definitely. And I in my short time, couple months here, I've noticed, and not even just in student body, but also staff and faculty, there's always a willingness to assist or, as Dr. Montague would say, provide service. And it's not only spoken on, but it's indefinite. You see it. It's always happening around you. Someone is always providing service or helping someone else. And so I think that's a beautiful thing about campus here. My last question for you, for any individual pursuing a career or wanting to pursue a career in media, journalism, digital media, broadcast, I love the word, and what broadcast is, whether TV, radio, or print, online, what should be the first thing that comes to mind? What should they do? Where should they start?
Do you mean our students, our college students, or people who are looking to pursue that?
People in general, whether they be student, whether they should this be the first stop? Should they inquire? Should they try to get started on their own before they do go to an institution maybe? Or what advice would you give to someone?
I would say number one, be proactive.
Right.
Work ethic. I worked on hiring people for 10 years, and the number one thing I looked for was work ethic. So if you develop that in whatever way, work ethic, be proactive, go out there, and you can volunteer places or you can earn intern places, but that hands-on training certainly is helpful. We've had students who in high school came over to volunteer with the TV station and then ended up here and went on to careers, in broadcast. So I would say just be proactive no matter what career you're pursuing, but especially in digital media. It's really about diving in.
Right, yes.
A lot of students are like, wow, journalism, there's so much, and you start right away. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of, you just have to dive in to journalism.
It's the only way you learn, and you just got to, jump in.
And you grow and you learn, and I still learn, I'm still learning. I'm always trying to make my writing better or make my production skills better or anything like that. So that's kind of the fun thing, I think, about journalism, digital media, communication in general, is it's kind of an evolving you're always going to be developing a skill.
Yes, day in, day out. I agree. Well, thank you for your time, Amy.
Yeah,
I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And for more information about the communication department here at the University of Findlay, you can log on to findlay.edu/communication. Thank you.